Are you ever just mining away for diamonds and then this happens?
Oh no, all of my diamonds are falling out of my wallet because it's so old and worn down and bad and ugly and doesn't really hold diamonds very well.
Well, what if I told you there's an easy and affordable solution? Well, that's where the sponsor of this video comes in, Exter. They have these sleek minimalistic wallets that can hold up to 12 cards. There's even a strap to hold some cash.
Oh wow, look, it's my monthly paycheck from YouTube.
They also sent me this card holder, which is very durable and works just as well. On top of everything, I got this little tracker that's so thin it can fit inside any wallet.
Buy the wallets.
Use the link in the description to get 20% off site-wide. If your order is over $150, you get 30% off, plus a free gift bag for the Father's Day sale from now to June 20th. Thank you again to Exter for sponsoring this video.
Now I have a high quality place to hold all my diamonds.
People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, otherwise known as PETA, is an interesting organization to say the least. If you've been a fan of my channel for any amount of time now, you're probably familiar with the articles PETA has written about video games. In these articles, they cherry pick what to hate about these games. For example, in Assassin's Creed, whaling is bad, but they make no mention of the hunting or the, oh yeah, assassinating. So as far as PETA is concerned, whaling is the one unethical thing about this game. But my favorite article that I've read by PETA is PETA's Vegan Guide to Animal Crossing. It talks about all of the things you cannot do, like catching fish, bugs, craft certain items, or wear certain things. In other words, PETA wants you to play Animal Crossing minus the most efficient ways to make money, and without, like, most of the game's main features. They do list stuff you can do instead, and it's a list of the most boring parts of the game. So it got me thinking, what would a vegan guide made by PETA specifically look like for other games? Today we are going to try and figure out how a vegan guide to Minecraft made by PETA would look. I do not care how many features of this game we are going to take away. We are not stopping until we make PETA proud. Let's start with what you can and can't kill. PETA is all for animal rights, so obviously we cannot kill any animals whatsoever. But in their articles, they do not seem to be bothered by killing humans. So I'm gonna say villagers, piglin, and traders are fair game and you can kill them. I would also classify illagers as fair game, excluding the ravengers and vexes. However, Minecraft is a game with a lot of creatures and monsters that are neither human nor animal. We can look to a past PETA article for a bit of help here. They wrote an article about how zerglings from StarCraft have feelings too. I don't know StarCraft very well at all, but I do know zerglings are these weird monster things and are also a hive mind, which means they do not think for themselves and have a collective conscious, which not only makes this article really dumb, but I think because of this we can classify any monsters like creepers or even the warden in the animal category, meaning we cannot kill them. Iron golems are a really hard mob to classify. I originally wanted to put them in the animal category, but the more I think about it, they're almost more of a robot than anything else. I can personally see this being a gray area, but I'd say you're allowed to kill them as well. But what category do the undead fall into? It's hard to say. Again, this part feels very subjective to me, but I personally say they would fall into more of the animal category than human. All they do is walk around and try to survive. They don't have villages set up where they try to farm or do anything else you would expect a human to do. They act way more like animals than anything else. So anything undead may as well be an animal in this case. Now that we know what we can and can't kill, what are we going to do about food? Well, this should be very straightforward. You can only eat what is vegan. I don't care if the chickens are casually laying eggs and then leaving that egg to rot. You are not allowed to eat it. I don't care if a creeper blows up and kills a pig right next to you. You better not pick up that pork chop, and don't forget, honey is not vegan. For early game, I would say you may just want to stick to apples, but they have a 0.5% chance of dropping while breaking oak leaves. Spawning in a mushroom biome may be your best bet so you can make some mushroom stew. Obviously, you're going to want to set up a nice farm to grow some crops, but do not even think about keeping animals there. PETA's even against pets sometimes. I say sometimes because they've spoken out about owning pets in the past, but then you can easily find examples of their employees with their pets. So if you want a cat or a wolf, feel free. Except you're not allowed to feed your cat a fish, so no cats or ocelots. The bone you'd use to tame a wolf is most likely coming from a skeleton, but if you happen to find a bone in a chest, I'll allow it. You never know if a bone comes from a pesky villager instead of a skeleton after all. Foxes are not allowed as you have to actively take the kit away from its parents. Axolotls don't seem to mind being yanked from their home, but it feels wrong, so I say leave them be. Horses, llamas, mules, and donkeys are off limits. You essentially have to harass them for a bit before they like you. Skeleton horses are also off limits as you have to kill a skeleton to get it to like you. Parrots are chill though. You're not only forbidden from owning a sheep, but you can also not shear it for wool. PETA is very outspoken against shearing sheep. I do not care if that sheep is going to overheat with the years of overgrown wool. Do not shear it. So that begs the question, can you sleep? Well, as we just discussed, you can't use wool. You're not allowed to use beds you may find in villages because you don't know how those villagers made those beds. But don't worry, there is a way to get wool in a humane way. You need to get 4 strings to do so. No, you obviously cannot kill spiders to get the strings, and breaking their webs is destroying their homes, so you cannot do that either. But feel free to steal them from chests, as that's more ethical. You'll most likely be able to find enough before the phantoms show up, or at least you better hope so, because you cannot kill the phantoms once they do show up. Now, what about weapons and armor? Leather armor is off limits since it's made from cows, and you can't use the turtle shell mints for obvious reasons. Everything else should be fair game. In general, if you have any questions about whether or not you can use something, just make sure what you're using doesn't come from an animal at all. For example, try to refrain from using maps, as you never know if it was written with squid ink. So what about building your home base? Are there any specific rules here? So at first I was considering just removing mining from the game altogether. This isn't me going out of my way to make this game as awful of an experience as possible. It just makes sense with this guide's premise. Chopping down trees and digging through dirt and mines are destroying the homes of all the creatures. Like, you would never want to screw over a silverfish by mining the wrong block, would you? So according to PETA's ethics, the proper course of action would probably be to just die running into a cactus. But since I'm a nice guy, I'll let you mine and build your home base. However, do be mindful of the wildlife, and every time you cut down a tree, plant a new one to replace it. If you want to go the extra mile, you can even try to save zombies and skeletons from burning to death once the sun comes up. No, of course you cannot ever fight the Ender Dragon, as the dragon is a living creature, nor can you even use the Eye of Ender to activate the end portal. But don't let that get you down. There's no reason why you can't still have fun in a vegan Minecraft playthrough. You're still allowed to explore anywhere you want, you'll just have to play more passively. Perhaps try to sneak around more, create strongholds to retreat to throughout the map, or just hide in a makeshift stone wall all night. There's no shame in being a coward here. This video started off as kind of a meme, but the more I think about it, a vegan playthrough would add an extra layer of challenge and force you to go about everything in a unique way, and that could call for some exciting and unique gameplay. So maybe consider giving this challenge a try and see how it goes. Of course, if you want, you can always play in creative mode as long as you continue to follow the rules. Minecraft is a huge game, and I'm certainly not the most experienced in it, so if there's anything I missed, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. As always, I fully support animal rights, being vegetarian and being vegan. Now make sure to be respectful to everybody in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic Tuesday.